Hello everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey, your destination for detailed and informative reviews of the instant noodle universe. And as promised in the last video, today I'm reviewing the other product in Iron Chef Morimoto's Momosan ramen line from Sapporo Ichiban, Tonkotsu flavor. Before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Now, if you didn't check out my last video where I reviewed the Tokyo Chicken Momosan ramen, please give that a watch because there's quite a bit of information I dumped in there that isn't totally necessary to repeat here. What I will say is that while I was really surprised at how great the Tokyo Chicken flavor was, this Tonkotsu flavor has a much steeper hill to climb for me. I've had some premium Tonkotsu flavors on this channel that have just blown me away. Pretty much every Tonkotsu made by Marutai. The expensive restaurant-style Tonkotsu from Ichiran, the vegan Tonkotsu from Itsuki, the frozen Tonkotsu from Myojo, even Sapporo Ichiban's own regular Tonkotsu bowl is something I gave an 8 out of 10 because it was a good flavor and quality at its price point. But now we come to this one, which lacks the dried ingredients from the bowl product and also has the same availability issues I ran into with the Tokyo Chicken flavor. As of the time of this filming, these are in a constant cycle of going out of stock for weeks or months at a time, pretty much everywhere, and then popping up only to sell it again because I assume people want to try these or are already fans and are just buying them all up. So I nabbed this from Yamibuy when it was in stock for $2.29, and it went out of stock the next day. Maybe it's supply chains, I don't know. Normally, I would say you should be able to find these at supermarkets, Asian grocery stores, and most online retailers, but it really depends on the day. So set up a stock alert if you're interested in Momosan. Now, for the uninitiated, let me just mention before I get into the ingredients that tonkotsu is a Japanese ramen broth made traditionally from pork bones that have simmered for a very long time, and then that stock is combined with seasonings, noodles, aromatic oil, and delicious toppings when you order it at a restaurant. So with that in mind, let's talk about what's in this particular packaged version of tonkotsu. Once again, sodium is crazy high at 2,040 milligrams, or 90% of your daily allowance, so steer clear of this if you are actively watching your sodium intake. Inside, we've got these awesome air-dried noodles like we saw in the Tokyo Chicken pack. And I didn't mention there, but these are extremely fragile. There's tiny little crushed bits of noodles all in the bottom of that package. We also have a soup powder and a liquid seasoning. And just like the Tokyo Chicken flavor, while I would love to go into more detail about what spices and seasonings are in here, I'm once again kind of at the mercy of the vagueness of the packaging. We've definitely got soy sauce, garlic, sesame seeds, leeks, MSG, and some fish extract, which is used for umami purposes, not necessarily to make it taste like seafood. But other than that, it just says spices and natural and artificial flavors. Being that this is manufactured in Japan for the US market and that the USDA doesn't take too kindly to imported Japanese pork, I'm almost certain the artificial flavors means no real pork extract in this. Which is not to say it will be bad, but it is disappointing to me when you can get other instant tonkotsu in the US that does have pork extract. Unless you specifically avoid pork in your diet, in which case, maybe this is for you. Let's get this cooked. Okay, while the noodles are boiling, we are once again going to assemble the soup base. Powder first. Doesn't smell bad. Pretty unremarkable. Powdered soy sauce in there for sure. Slight whiff of sesame. Maybe some powdered ginger, it's a little hard to tell. Alright, and now the liquid. Ooh, garlic oil. Some yeast in there for sure. That's the artificial pork flavor, so not my favorite way of approximating pork flavor, but in moderation, I think it works okay. All right, time to go get the noodles. All right, and here we go. Just one final stir to make sure that the oil and the soup powder are dissolved. The consistency of this looks pretty nice, but I am getting quite a strong aroma of that artificial flavor, and I don't know if I'm going to like this or not. So let's give it a taste. Okay, we'll start with the noodles. Once again, just like the Tokyo chicken flavor, these are the best noodles I think Sapporo Ichiban makes. They're air dried, which means they're bouncy. They're oil free, so there's no oily aftertaste. They've got a wonderful texture, really nice. 9 out of 10 for the noodles again. Spiciness, you don't have to worry. This is a completely mild tonkotsu, no chili pepper in here. 0 out of 10 on the spiciness scale. And so let's talk about the flavor, because I was a little bit worried when I got a whiff of that artificial flavoring. And in the past, I've had issues with the way artificial tonkotsu flavor hits my palate, which is to say that sometimes it smells to me like an uncooked loaf of bread. Super yeasty. Yeast extract is one of the things used to make this taste like a slightly gamey pork broth. Thankfully, that is not super noticeable here to me. At least not as much as I thought it was going to be based on the way it smelled. So what we've got here is a fairly tasty, very salty, very oniony, artificial pork flavor that has an extremely beautiful consistency, nice milky thick broth, but unfortunately there's not a whole lot else going on. The seasoning oil had a very garlicky aroma to it, but it doesn't really come through for me when it's all put together like this. I feel like the other flavors have kind of overwhelmed the garlic a little bit. It's there, but it's more subtle than I would have liked. The fishy umami is a little more pronounced than I have had in other brands. I'm not saying this is necessarily fishy or seafoody, but I can absolutely taste the fish ingredients in this just a little bit. If you're extremely sensitive to seafood flavors and you don't like them, you'll probably notice them in this, and so I wouldn't advise you to buy this. The sesame seeds and the leek flakes are pretty good. A little bit of crunch here. I like that. I wish there was more of them, just like with the Tokyo chicken flavor. But yeah, even though it's not egregiously artificial tasting to me, it is still artificial tasting to me. And I don't think there's anything super remarkable about this. Certainly nothing that I would say needs Masaharu Morimoto's seal of approval on, because it doesn't really feel like that unique of a recipe. You may have noticed I'm purposefully avoiding talking about the other tonkotsu instant noodles I love because I want to be fair to this product. So as an overall score on its own merits, I think this is just good, not great, about on par with Sapporo Ichiban's regular tonkotsu flavor, and is worth an 8 out of 10 score. Great noodles, reasonably flavorful broth, if not a little artificial, but I wish it had more in the way of dried flakes and just something to kind of set it apart considering the branding. Alright, now with that score out of the way, let me now bring up the other tonkotsu instant noodles that I love. While you'll probably enjoy this if you like the flavors I described, unless there's a specific reason you want this Momosan ramen above all else, whether it's curiosity, dietary needs, availability, or brand loyalty, my advice would be to seek out other tonkotsu ramen like Marutai or Itsuki. I don't think you'll dislike this or that it's bad in any way, but you can do better for roughly the same price per serving, or just a little bit more. If I had tried this before I had tried Marutai, I would probably be singing Momosan's praises. But unfortunately, I'm not going to buy this again because I just like the other brands more for when I'm making my own meals. And yes, if I'm being completely transparent, the lack of real pork in this does play a factor in that. So either way, I'm glad I tried this, and you should try it if you're interested. Don't let me dissuade you if this is on your ramen bucket list. If you've tried this or the Tokyo chicken flavor, leave me some comments about what you thought. I am done with Sapporo Ichiban products for a little while now, which means I'm pivoting into something super interesting for the next review. So I hope you'll check out my other videos and continue on this noodle journey with me.